disrespect you respectfully. Humbly, nah, respectfully.
This is something I've been wanting to talk about for a minute, and never got a chance. I always forget. But Loretta Lynch. So Marvin, you probably already know where I'm going with this one.
Loretta Lynch.
Loretta Lynch. So Loretta Lynch, Marvin, help me out. She's the former
U.S. State's U.S. Attorney General, AG.
Attorney General, right. She was Attorney General under Obama.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
So this is the Obama gift that keeps on giving. So we got Loretta Lynch there, and then we got. All right. So these are two cases. Loretta Lynch is, I mean, she's just on the wrong side of history, bro. So like, so I don't know if y'all heard about this. Now this McDonald's discrimination class action suit. This originated back in 2020. So like a couple years ago. So basically McDonald's was being sued. It was a class action suit against McDonald's for discrimination against their Black franchisees. So the Black franchisees came and said, "Hey, it's clear that you're treating us, we're getting inferior treatment and being discriminated against as franchisees just because we're Black." So Loretta Lynch represents McDonald's. Okay. In this case, right? We got the NFL, because like in what's Gary, because you mess with football like that. What's
Brian Flores?
What was it? What's the other brother that was talking to?
Well, what's his name?
I know Brian Flores. He just got hired though. He got hired as a defensive coordinator for the Pittsburgh Steelers under another Black coach. Mike Tomlin hired him as a defensive coordinator.
And he's hired now.
Yeah, but he got hired by another Black coach. He was all like, "Yeah, we look out for each other." You feel?
Got you.
And that was, you know what I mean? But that whole situation is nuts, bro. Like that whole situation is nuts. Another guy came out, Hugh Jackson said something. He was an ex-head coach, and he went through a similar situation too. So he's speaking out about it as well. It's a real thing. Like it's a real thing. And it can get kind of ugly. It might get ugly.
Yeah, and the thing is, when you have people bringing a racial discrimination suit against you, that means that there's pretty conclusive evidence, because an attorney wouldn't even take the case otherwise,
Right.
So
especially the NFL, shit, that machine.
Yeah. So, but anyway, so Loretta Lynch again is representing the NFL, or representing the opposing party, or the party being accused of racial discrimination.
Oh, she one of them.
Yeah, and this is the thing, man. So and you see her right here.
This is her specialty.
Oh man.
Yeah. So apparently her firm, her former firm, has the NFL as a client. But this is my thing, because one of my guys, when the McDonald's thing popped off, and I, was talking to one of my guys, Sean. So he was talking about, I told him about it. And he was like, well, I mean, look, man, you don't know how things work at that level, and you can't be mad at her for just operating in her career and operating as an attorney, a corporate attorney. And I'm like, yeah, I get it, but she's good. Like, she doesn't really need to take these cases, and also, like, could you imagine? This is my thing, yo. Could you imagine a company being accused of anti-Semitic something, and then you have a Jewish attorney?
Yeah, that would be crazy.
And I'm talking like I'm talking high profile,
like Merrick Garland or somebody, or like
right,
one of those top Jewish lawyers like trying
Right.
to defend the company that's accused of anti-Semitism, I don't think it'll happen personally.
You would never see that happen. You know,
I ain't got it happen.
And to do it so publicly, like these are high profile cases that everybody's paying attention to. You would never see a Jewish lawyer step up to the plate and say, you know what? I'm gonna represent the anti-Semites. Like you would never see that happen, you know. But with black people, it's just another day.
Yo,
it's regular.
You know what they try to get us to say? We're not a monolith.
No.
I hate that, by the way. I think it's stupid.
I was chopping it up last night. I went out last night for the first time, and I don't know how long because I don't be outside. But I went out, and I went out Dolo, to a spot downtown DC, and I ended up chopping it up with this dude from Georgia. What's that sound? I'm hearing like a buzzing or something. Okay. But yeah, so I ended up chopping up with this dude from Georgia who is an entrepreneur. He has multiple businesses. Matter of fact, I actually mentioned you to him, Marvin. Because we were chopping it up about like he's in IT. He's in the IT space. So anyway, we were chopping it up about like politics, business, bunch of stuff. And he said at one point in the conversation, he was like, I want to find out. He said, I want to know who created or coined the phrase black people are not a monolith, because I have some suspicions that it was an op, because black people have a tendency to not get on the same page with anything. We can't even get on the same page with something as simple as they owe us for all of the free labor we gave, right? We can't even get on the same page with that.
Right.
So, but he was like, and this was a bar, bro. This was a bar. He was like, black people aren't a monolith. He said, this is what I say all the time. Black people aren't a monolith. We are a monolith in our struggles, but we aren't a monolith in our solutions. Right?
Yeah.
We aren't a monolith in our progress, but we are a monolith in our, digressions, right? Or our struggles, right? Or our oppression, So, because he was like, the longer we act like we're not a monolith, we ain't gonna get nothing done. Because we really can't get on the same page about anything.
Right. And like, if you chasing too many things, then of course nothing happens. Like, that's just like, if you got a business and you trying to do 1,000 things at once, well, you're gonna do nothing.
Yep. And then another thing he was saying is we always get split up. We get split up by the most trivial things, like, oh, you're a Christian, I'm a Muslim. You Protestant, I'm Baptist. You're a Republican, I'm a Democrat.
All these labels that don't mean nothing.
Don't mean a damn thing, man. Because at the end of the day, we all dealing with the same problems. Yep. You ain't got no bread. I ain't got no bread. We don't own nothing.
Right. I don't own the means of production to nothing.
Anything. So, but yeah, Loretta Lynch, I just wanted to end out on that, because like I said, you will never find a Jewish attorney that will represent the company being accused of anti-Semitism.
At least not that popular. You won't get nobody that's like that popular to do that.
It would never happen, and the fact that it happens with us so often. And then you got the Supreme Court nominee, what's her name? Ketanji Brown.
Yeah. Jackson.
Yeah. Who is on record saying that racism has no teeth when it comes to like the legal. There's no legal place for racism, in the justice. Like to deal with the issue of race, it's not like, it just doesn't translate. So basically what she's saying is, I don't deal with race in my decisions. But she's also on record saying that she does deal with sexism and, the issues of, right, what is it, right to pro-life and all that stuff.
No.
So when it comes to like, the feminist stuff,
So you're an
that's permissible.
activist. You're an activist judge based on situation. You're a situational activist judge, or as long as it does not
Right.
have any clear, specifically black
Right.
rulings, I'm not that.
Right.
That ain't
Exactly.
me, but environmental, I'm your woman.
I'm on it.
I got you.
I'm that one, and then she has that decision that she made. Yo, when I really, so that what was the company?
Lockheed Martin.
Lockheed Martin.
Yeah.
Yo, when you look up the specifics of that case, it's kind of wild, bro. And the fact that they were awarded, so Lockheed Martin black employees were awarded with a $22 million settlement. I think it was 22 million.
Oh, nice.
And
they got paid.
So they won. No, they didn't get paid.
Oh,
but the only reason that they didn't get paid is because Ketanji Brown Jackson blocked the settlement. All she had to do, the decision was made. All she had to do was sign off on it.
So what did they win?
22. They didn't get nothing. So, and another thing she did, not only did she not sign off on it, another thing she did was she waited so long to not sign off on it that the deadline for appeal, I think, had been exhausted or had passed.
Oh, they ran the clock out.
Ran the clock out on them, so they didn't get the money and they couldn't appeal. So, and this was a case where it was some pretty egregious. It was
so.
And this is the one that we have, and this is the one that they're celebrating, saying, it's Black Girl Magic. It's having a black woman in Supreme Court. This is history being made, and yes, it is history being made. But I mean, Clarence Thomas was also history being made, and that didn't turn out well.
So this is the case of a victory without a clear win.
But no, that's how that's typically what black folk do,
I mean, but this was said by Malcolm X. This is what you got here is a case of a victory without a clear win. Like, right. You can't show me where you winning at. You can point to, we got such and such sitting in that seat.
Yep.
Where's the clear win for all of us? Like
for us, a lot of times with black folk, we're just happy to be at the table, right?
But we ain't at the table.
We're happy to be a part of the conversation. So technically, she is on the Supreme Court bench, so she's at the table, right?
But you and I aren't at anything,
right? Yeah, that's true. That's true. But we black folk, we live vicariously through.
I live vicariously
that are right. That's Hove's whole business model is because black people live vicariously through him, so he sells that brand of black culture,
Yeah, I mean, but he's a celebrity. Like, you gotta separate your celebrities from your politicians, and that's the problem. We
don't.
Like, if we don't make it some pop culture foolishness, we ain't really trying to follow it. And
right. There was a study that was done not too long ago. I think it was an Ivy League school that did it, that showed that actually no, this was an old study because it changed the way that companies marketed and used celebrities and all this other stuff specifically to the black community. But it was a study that they did, and it showed that the black demographic is the most celebrity influenced demographic of any group.
Yeah.
So they basically found that marketing things and just using a celebrity to do it, it really influences black people's decision making more than any other group. So, and if you look at like successful black people, right? People that are in like you got the Obamas, you got Loretta Lynch, you got Ketanji Brown Jackson, right? These are people who essentially are seen as success in black people's eyes. They're celebrities,
right?
So it's like no matter who they are or how they move when they're in these spaces, the only thing that matters is they're there. And so it makes us feel better to see them there, throwing us under the bus.
I don't feel, man. I don't get it. Like I'm so tired of symbolism. Like, give me I want the substance.
Right.
You feel me? Like,
Yep.
you can. Who cares?
I don't need symbols. I can't eat symbols.
Nope.
I can't eat symbols. And that's another thing with me and the dude last night talked about before we wrap up. But so we were basically saying that, you know, Black people, our politics, we treat it like a religion. We treat our politics like a religion. We treat our politicians like clergymen.
Yeah.
You know, and we vote out of a ritualistic thing more so than a strategic thing. You know, and yeah, honestly, I feel like at this point, that's not going to change until the boomer generation is kind of like no longer the ice hitting the mic. But yeah, I don't think that's going to change until the boomer generation is kind of like phased out of our voting block.
You know, I thought that, but I think really, if nothing drastic happens, like you can't go buy a PlayStation, or you can't go or I can't have this little bit of stuff. That's the only thing that's gonna change. Is like, if you can't eat, like I'm talking about eating, like you can't go buy some bread and you in the street starving, like, oh wow, we got to.
I would have said that. I would have agreed with that like 5 years ago. Mm-hmm. But now, like with this generation, people are not really, niggas want actual like substantive, niggas want substance. So like if you look at a lot of the conversation from our generation and after,
right,
like on social media, and I'm not talking about blue check Blacks. I'm talking about just
I know you're
regular, talking about the everyday
people.
Yeah, they go in.
Yeah,
on these folks, man. When somebody posted a picture of the what's her name, Sheila Jackson Lee, from the Congressional Black Caucus and some other Congressional Black Caucus members. Man, you looked in the comments, they were killing them, bro. Black people were killing them. So at this point, it's like everybody knows, everybody's aware of it, and people are fed up. But when election time comes back around, you know, they still have the boomer, you know, Blacks to depend on, because they know that, you know, they don't ask for much, they don't ask for anything, and they vote every time.
Yep. Every time, because they got you in lockstep, and you just gonna do what you was told to do. And it's like, do that thing you were told to do. Yes, I will do that thing I was told to do. Like,
it's like okay, Mouser, is it time for us to vote again now?
Right.
I was get out there and do you a nice vote.
I was gonna do we're gonna do our dance and
right.
fry our chicken.
We're gonna cut a jig. Yo, you know they were giving catfish and collard greens to niggas in the South to vote. Catfish nuggets and collard greens.
I forgot the dude's name, but he has a fish fry just because of that.
And I love fish. I'm a big fan of fish fries. I love fish fries.
But not for my vote.
But you ain't about to fish fry me into a vote, nigga. Like, I'm gonna
it's some good old Southern tea and a fish fry. I'm gonna get your vote.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I forgot your name, but he do have a fish fry every year.
Right. Yeah, we used to have the fish fries at the church I used to go to back in the day. But yeah, so it's a good note to end on, because I can cut I can make the Loretta Lynch thing a little clip.
Okay.
In and of itself.
Yeah, I'm cool with that.
I feel like I could have went in on her more, but
I was curious on your feelings on that picture I sent you the other day with the representatives in that lady in the cowboy hat. Remember the one I sent you? It's like,
Right. That's what I'm talking about. That was a CDC picture.
Yeah. Like,
Wait.
well,
Yeah, that was the one. I thought. Did I send that to you?
and when I sent you last night about Wells Fargo, they rejected half of its black applicants in the mortgage refinancing boom. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Oh yeah, that was something I did want to talk about.
right.
I did want to talk about that because yeah. Let me pull that up.
Okay.
Let me pull that up real quick. What was the title?
Wells Fargo rejected half of its black applicants in mortgage refinancing loan.
Okay.
It was a Bloomberg article.
Got you.
Oh, and I wanted to ask you about that school funding thing for the American Rescue Plan. I was trying to figure out why did they focus on us getting $2.7 billion for HBCUs when the approximately 11 billion to Hispanics and 5 billion to Asian Americans? Like, why did our little bit of money lead when everybody else, they was getting more? But the article should have led with 11 billion to Hispanics serving institutions. The article should have led with
right. Yeah,
almost
everybody else. Yeah, everybody.
They got more money and we got less money. But why is that the lead story? Like, the lead story should be you gave 11 billion to HSIs.
Yep.
Like, and we out there taking like, well, we got some. Look at us. We like,
right.
You didn't get 11 billion.
and it didn't even go to you. It went to universities. Yeah. So this is my thing. It's like Black people need to understand, because when I have these conversations with people, a lot of times they'll be like, "Oh well, you know, we can't be dependent on the government to do things for us all the time. We got to do for ourselves." And
we gotta grow up and stop that, because one, there's not a company on the planet that don't do business with the United States. They're the biggest buyer. Facebook has lobbyists for a reason.
Yep.
Google has lobbyists for a reason.
For a reason.
Your favorite company that you like a lot, Nike, has lobbyists for a reason.
Yep. And even not even just enterprise, but you know, your nonprofit orgs, your 501c3s, like your friend that has the book, children's book org in Philly. Stuff like that, because we all know people that have these nonprofits or are doing work on a grassroots level, you know, trying to like fill in these gaps in our communities that the government just doesn't give a damn about.
Right.
We know people like that. And when bills don't get passed and when federal funding doesn't get directed specifically to Black people, that means that our orgs that need money to scale and be more effective and have a larger footprint on who they are helping, that means that they won't get any money. Right. So it's like, and every time you hear about, you know, like such and such billion to Hispanics, that means that's going to Hispanic orgs. These are grant money. This is grant money. This is, you know, loan money. This is whatever, cheap capital that is going specifically to Hispanic businesses, Hispanic orgs, right? Yep. So that they can help their community. So if you're not getting any of that money, that means you aren't going to be able to help your community as much as you otherwise will be able to. So I feel like a lot of people don't make that connection.
No, and they don't. And first thing they give you is some talking point about, you don't want the government's money, that like yo, okay, so you're do for self. Nobody walking has built anything on their own.
Yeah, at all. Because
let me tell you, Tesla wouldn't be Tesla if it wasn't for government funding.
And Elon got a lot of bread.
Neither was SpaceX.
Right.
Wouldn't be able to do it. If you want to look at it from another level, Amazon is great, right? They bring stuff to your house and everything, but it'd be a lot harder to get the stuff to your house if the roads that Amazon get there on weren't paid correctly. So
and UPS is a big part of their logistics too.
right, but what I'm saying is that we all play a part in somebody else's success.
Right.
Like,
and it's only when it comes to Black people that suddenly, well, he's not just the president of Black people. This isn't just the government. Well, what if everybody doesn't agree with, if you don't have the consensus and the support for it, then how can you get it passed? That only happens with us. Anybody else, they don't need a consensus. They just pass the bill, the money gets pushed out, and it goes to those people. So, and the thing is, look, I understand that's what everybody else is gonna say to keep us from getting the bread. What pisses me off is
when we say it to each other. It's like, fam, stop repeating these talking points that you heard somebody else say.
Like, bro, I've been in meet when I was working on different campaigns and whatnot. And I remember interviewing for a company that literally puts together messaging and branding for lobbying efforts and for policy pushes, right? We used to create one pagers with talking points, right?
Right.
Just like the media has the echo chamber where they just repeat the same talking point. Like, people get in rooms, they make the talking points, and they're like, okay, go out and proliferate the talking points. And the thing is with Black folks, like, a lot of times we can't even discern the talking point from an actual point. And we start repeating the talking points that are in opposition to our well-being. Yep. Like, this agenda is against you. You do understand that, right? Why are you repeating the ops talking points for why you shouldn't get politics, why you shouldn't get bills, So,
like, I don't have to tell you you shouldn't have it. You'll tell yourself you can't have it.
Exactly.
And make my job a lot easier.
Yep. Like, I posted something the other day about the CBC. I was like, yeah, these CBC old heads, they'll pass a kidney stone before they pass a bill for Black people, right?
Right.
And one of my guys from high school, and I mean, look, I agree with what he said, but he was like, well, we can't all depend on the government. He said, that typical, we can't all depend on the government to take care of our stuff, and we need to start, being concerned and with building our own enterprise and building our own this and that and having our own finances and blah, blah. And I'm like, point one, that you're assuming that we're not already doing those things, because I know people personally that are building things, right? We're trying to build something, right?
Yeah.
So, and I know people that have like nonprofits that are doing work. So it's not like this whole narrative that all Black people are just sitting around on their hands waiting for the government to pass bills for them, right? We got to stop that, bro, because it's a lot of Black people out here doing the work, but when it comes to, okay, where am I going to get access to the capital to scale, right? That's when it becomes, they run into a brick wall, and it's like, okay, well, how else am I going to scale? Right. So, and it's all right. So look, let me show you this, because we brought up the Wells Fargo situation. So basically, all right. So here it is. So you got Wells Fargo rejected half of its Black applicants in mortgage refinancing boom, right? So Wells Fargo, along with a lot of those banks that got in the housing bubble, that were caught up in that whole subprime loan debacle.
Wow! Did you see? I guess his name is Maurice Reed.
Paid a 5 or 6 application.
Who he works at? See who he's married to?
Who?
The Microsoft Corp engineer is married to a doctor and has a credit score north of 800. Long officer at the bank told him he'd probably be eligible for a fast track proposal. appraisal. Wells Fargo denies the application.
Yeah, and you know what's crazy about this is these same banks were caught. I mean, conclusive evidence came out that they were targeting black people with these subprime loans, even when the black people had you know, matching credit profiles with white applicants, right?
Yep.
So they were being pushed into these bad loans, even when they had, you know, pretty decent credit, good financial profile, right?
Yep.
So you fast forward to now, after a lot of these people have lost their homes. So this is the point I wanted to make. So in that housing bubble, black people lost, because I've seen numbers as high as half, like 40% of our wealth was lost in that housing bubble, because, you know, black people typically, we're very singular with our wealth building. So we typically buy homes to build wealth, right? So 40% of our wealth lost in the housing bubble. You fast forward to now, and we're seeing that Wells Fargo is rejecting half of its black applicants, right?
For a refi, though, we're not talking about, you know, I mean,
Oh yeah,
save my life.
Yeah, refinancing, right. Now this is something I posted like a few years back called banks are shutting the doors on black home ownership, right? And in this article, it basically says, at one point in the article, it says that black, So it says that this report shows housing discrimination is at Jim Crow levels. And this came out in 2018, right?
Mm-hmm.
Housing discrimination at Jim Crow levels after a housing bubble that you know, kind of was predatory on black homeowners. Fast forward to now, we have this article that comes out, right?
Yep.
And then on top of that, because of COVID, and everybody's, you know, trying to buy a home and it's not enough supply, the housing prices have skyrocketed, right? So now black people who do want to get into, or like first-time home buyers or people that lost their homes, it's harder for us to get back into the housing market because the housing market has essentially priced most of us out.
Yep.
Right. So, you know, my thing is just like, you know, you can't, there's no way to get out of a situation like this without politics. There's no way to get out of a situation like this without a lobbying force that legitimately lobbies on your behalf. And if you don't have it,
you can't do for self your way out of this.
Yeah.
Not
it's impossible. It's impossible. And the fact that black people are so trained to kind of see politics is like a, not even a necessary evil. We see it as something where it's like, okay, it's a waste of our time. So, right. but we still got to vote and put them in.
Right. So if it's a waste of my time, then why am I voting?
Right. Like 19 Keys said, he was like, this is a bar too. He said, black people only vote. We don't lobby. Yeah. We vote, we do not lobby. Even though we have a lobbying force, which is essentially supposed to be, you know, Congressional Black Caucus, even though we have a lobbying force in Congress, they don't even lobby for us. So we're not lobbying for us, they're not lobbying for us. And all these different statistics about how we're being discriminated against, specifically black people, because you saw in the article, it didn't say Hispanic, it didn't say Asian, it said black people.
Yep.
Right?
Specifically.
No, at all. So, but yeah, that's a good note to end on, y'all.
All right.
Since D.W. Griffith's Birth of a Nation in 1915, the black male image has been under assault. There is one thing that does not exist, and it needs to exist. Black male media by black men for black men.
I don't feel none of y'all pain. Y'all ain't take none of these risks. I don't feel none of y'all made the decisions I made to be real with this shit. I don't trust none of y'all motives.
So about the media
company, man. So like that's the long game. That's long term. So we got the podcast, and then we want to highlight stories
right
that track with the podcast content, right? So like facts.
one day that'd be a game changer.
That's the long game, bro.
Let's do it.
Motion picture. You know the vibes.
I don't feel none of y'all pain. Y'all ain't take none of these risks. I don't feel none of y'all made the decisions I made to be real with this shit. I don't trust none of y'all motives. I know you lacking the code.